Welcome to the Good Games Podcast, episode number 169. This is a show where we talk about video games and gamer-related things. My name is Frank from Palmenso, and I'm your host. And as always, I'm joined by the co-host of the show, Alex Nunez. What's up, man?
Not much, dude. Just here, hanging out, talking with you, podcasting and stuffs.
Yeah, we do this a lot every week, and let's keep it going. I got some news, man.
What?
I got some news, man.
What's been going on in the wild world of Frank?
So this past weekend, the Dragon Ball FighterZ beta dropped this past weekend, and you know there were people that were handpicked to be able to get codes to play the beta, and then it turns out that if you owned an Xbox One, that you were also allowed to play the beta, and I'm sure a lot of people knew about this, but yeah, you basically had to download the Xbox Insider app. And then once you had that app, you were given a run at the beta, you didn't have to be handpicked or anything. And I was like, what? So I actually broke out the good old Xbox One.
Wait, and the way you said that implies that it wasn't already connected.
It is connected. It's always been connected. It's a figure of speech. Okay. It's just never been. It's just hasn't been turned on in a while. I
just wanted to make sure.
But yes, I know the bet's still going. It's still here. So, so yeah, I got the chance to play the Dragon Ball FighterZ beta, and I just wanna talk a little bit about it, just a bit. The experience was. There were some problems with the beta. First off, you couldn't find a match. There were like times where I think I went like maybe 35 minutes without finding a match. But the good thing was that while you were waiting, you actually could play against the AI.
Okay.
And I was like, that's a really nice feature to have. So you got to like bone up and practice and try all the characters and stuff. Mm-hmm. And the characters that they had available in this build was the first 6. So you had Goku, Vegeta, Young Gohan, Frieza, Majin Buu, and Cell. And then you also had the option of selecting Piccolo, Krillin, Android 18, and Android 16. And I believe there's one more that I might be missing, or I think that's it. But yeah, as far as I remember, you could pick those guys as well in this new build. So, Alex.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, man, this game is so awesome.
I keep hearing that, but I can't ever get my hands on it for some reason. I don't know.
Well, soon. We're probably gonna have to wait another 6 months, but I think the release date is February actually of next year.
Yeah.
So they were saying March, but February is better. Mm-hmm. This game is too good, man. The fights are fast paced. They're crazy. The teleporting and the power attacks, and I've also seen some crazy videos from the weekend beta. And there were like 2 videos where I was just like, "Oh my god!" Like there was one video, and it's pretty much like, people have been calling it like a toned down Marvel vs. Capcom 2.
Yeah.
But with Dragon Ball Z characters, which kind of puts it over the top, but like the power moves are like crazy. But in any case, there was one video I saw where there were so many super attacks happening on the screen at the same time that you couldn't see like any gauges. Like like you couldn't see the life bars, you couldn't see the HUD at all.
Wow.
And that's how like screen filling and powerful all of these attacks were. But the end result of that is that one of the players, the first player side, they lost 2 characters in a matter of 5 seconds.
Wow. Because
they just happened to be like, all of the characters basically happened to be on the screen at the same time. And I was like, whoa.
Jesus.
It was amazing. It was, sorry. I forgot one more character, Future Trunks. He was also playable too. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I tried him. I like him. I think I want to try to make him one of my main squad. But yeah, man, this game is incredible. This game was so good. And there was also this one video that I saw was absolutely awesome. It was like it was like a really good fight. Like it was like maybe a 3-minute long good fight with and it seemed a bit like choreographed, but I think it just happened to be the teams that were being used. So you had Goku, Piccolo, and young Gohan versus Frieza, Majin Buu, and Cell. And way what they did to edit, what they edited in the original music from Dragon Ball Z to fit with the battle. So it was so cool, like seeing them fight to like the original anime music, and the fight ends with Gohan fighting against Cell.
Nice.
And the way he beats Cell is like the exact same way he beats Cell in the anime. It's like he does his level 3 super. He does his level 3 super where he basically does a Kamehameha, and Goku assists him like from the dead. And it's like the last couple of hits, and then you see like Goku like say like, you know, he says Mata, which means die.
Yeah.
And they kill Cell, and I'm like, and they do like the whole special finish, the destructive finish. And I'm like, this is it was fucking epic. It was so awesome.
Okay.
Like I feel like linking that video just so at least you could see it, but it's really good. It was really fucking good. But yeah, man, I fought some humans too, and fighting humans was pretty good. You could tell like people were still trying to figure out what to do, and I think I had a bit of a leg up because I had played it at E3. But I think I did pretty well. I lost a few, but I didn't play that many matches. But I won the majority of my matches.
Okay.
But fast and crazy and powerful attacks and awesome characters, and it's just going to be like the amount of fan service this game is going to bring is going to be incredible. So yeah, that was a bit of my time with the Dragon Ball FighterZ beta.
Well, that's great.
Incredible.
My Dragon Ball Z beta experience was just, you know, crying at the rejection email that I got for the beta. So,
I'm sorry. Man. I got rejected too. On the PS4 side.
Yeah, but you found a way in.
Yeah, I mean, I had no idea that was going to be the case. You know? So having an Xbox One paid off.
Did it really though? Just for a few moments?
It did, man. It did. It was a fun weekend. It was a fun-filled weekend with it. Just like I could go home and play Dragon Ball FighterZ, yeah. But I will say that the matches ran pretty smooth. Like the netcode was pretty good. Okay. And everything was like moving really well. I didn't experience any lag really. And yeah, everything was pretty good.
Nice.
Everything ran pretty well. Just outside of like the server maintenance that they were doing while the beta was up, and that was a little jarring. But again, you got to play against the computer. Yeah. Or train, you know, so I'm like, good. Yeah, so I was like, great. I'm okay with that. Something to take the time. So yeah, man. Awesome. I loved it. I'm sorry about the rejection. You'll get them again next time.
It's fine. I'm actually trying to like stay away from like watching too much of the game because I want to be as fresh as possible because I'm already sold on it. Like I'm gonna buy it no matter what. Yeah. So I'd rather just experience most of it firsthand.
Yeah. No, I get you. Yeah. I feel like I'm still gonna be very excited about it when it comes, but I feel like all right, I've played a good amount of it. You know, if they release another beta before release, I'm probably not going to try to play it. I'm just going to try to just see what happens. Yeah. You know, and you know, they probably will definitely announce more characters by then. And yeah, it's going to, I just know this game is going to be something else, man. It looks so awesome.
It does.
So yeah, man, that was my news. That was my news. What else has been happening with you? Nothing really, or?
I mean, same old, pretty much.
Same old.
Speaking
of which, I guess let's start the show, right?
Okay, let's do that.
So, same old stuff. So, let's bring us back. Let's take us back to what you've been going through. So, what you got for us, man?
It's just more Destiny 2. Really, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
A whole lot more.
We all know.
Yep. So I guess the most pertinent thing is that I got to do the raid that launched last week.
Oh, nice.
I'm not sure. I think I'm still kind of like putting together my thoughts on the raid. It's like the word that keeps coming to mind is that it's weird.
Okay.
It's different. They're doing a lot of different things. Some very cool. Some like there was at least one encounter in that raid that I kind of hate. Primarily because it involves a lot of stealth, and I don't know. I don't know that I like the idea of stealth in Destiny. Yeah, because it did a little bit of that in the Vault of Glass. There's that whole Gorgon maze thing, which was a pain in the ass, and I always hated that part. But at least it was a thing you could get through pretty fast once you knew the route. But they've built like kind of an entire encounter around that idea almost, and I was like, oh man, I don't like this a lot. So that's one of my main sticking points. But like the other thing about the raid, I'm not going to really talk about mechanics, or if anyone is trying to stay, pure and not know anything going in case you want to do like a blind run, like what I did. Me and 6 other people just went in trying to figure out everything as we went along. But yeah, most of the encounters in the raid, you're not fighting bosses per se. You're kind of doing things to open the path almost, and it's that was also kind of a little weird. I don't know. I guess I'm just used to fighting these big ass dudes and kind of just going through a boss gauntlet, and this is not that. It's like you're kind of, and I guess it makes sense like from a story perspective, because like once you step foot where the raid is, there's kind of like a little cutscene, and it's kind of cool, which is new to the raid experience, and it kind of shows you and your team of guardians landing on the ship all badass like, and then there's like dialogue, like you're like the guy that you're trying to kill is like over the PA almost just welcome you to the ship and like, hey, do these trials and stuff, and then you can come see me maybe, and you're kind of like running these trials, and yeah, it's just weird that it's not like a series of guys that you have to go through. But some of the cool new stuff that they're doing is that the raid now, usually the raids have been a very linear experience. You just kind of go from boss 1 to boss 2 to boss 3, and with some like traversal areas in between. Now they kind of, so there's almost like this hub area in the middle where you start the raid, and that's kind of the door opening sequence, which is again another component that's been in the other raids. And then you kind of go from there to the encounters. But once you finish the encounter, you go back to that central hub and then do a similar thing to open the next door. So you can kind of, so what I figured out, or what was, I guess, revealed this week with a weekly reset, is that now with the raid, they're going to mix up the encounters. So one week, you'll do the things in a certain order, but then the next week, they'll mix up 3 of the encounters, so now you're doing the things in a different order. So instead of doing encounter A, B, and C, now you're doing encounter B, A, and C, and that sort of thing. So that's kind of a cool thing, kind of keeps it fresh, especially if you're doing raids every week. But the other crazy thing about the raid is that it's a unique location, so you have to load into this area, but I got a like kind of like a Bowser's Castle kind of vibe, because there's also, aside from like the stuff that you have to do to like, do the raid and, kill these bosses or whatever, there's like an underbelly to this ship. And I think somebody mapped it out, and it's about the size of the Dreadnought from the Taken King. So it's like the size of like an actual Destiny zone. And it's crazy because it's like you're like flipping levers to open doors and shit, and these things have to be open in a certain order. And it's just like a fucking labyrinth underneath this raid, and you can like just spend hours just trying to see everything, to go down every corridor and figure out what things are happening. It's kind of crazy. I kind of love it, because it's like this, they've never done anything like this, and the fact, like, just the audacity of them making this big of a space and reserving it just for the raid is kind of crazy. And I like it. There's like illusory doors, and you're turning off waterfalls, and it's like, what the hell? This is like again, it's like Bowser Castle shit. Like, okay. you can find like back doors to some of the other bosses or to like the next boss that you're on or whatever, and kind of skip certain sections. But I don't know if that's faster than actually doing the encounter normally, because it's like a labyrinth down there, and there's just a lot of paths, and it might take longer to go through the back way instead of going through the front way. But again, just the fact that that's an option is weird. But yeah, that was an experience. I had to look it up online because it took us a while to complete the raid from beginning to end. We started it the day and right when the raid launched on Wednesday. And I think altogether, with all our runs across all the different days, it was like 20 hours.
Whoa.
From start to finish.
Holy shit.
I will say, normally, if you're going to do a blind run, it should take about 12 hours. I had a unique situation where, and not to disparage anyone, it's like, it was a cool time, but one of our teammates, he liked to talk a lot and go into very extreme detail into what we were doing, and a lot of it was unnecessary. And I really hoped after a long time that this man would learn to, boil down his points to the very essence. But I would estimate 40% of our time would have been saved if he had, showed a little restraint in his talking a little bit. But yeah. Other than that, it was cool. It was a cool experience. Just seeing everything. Other than that weird like stealth section, I don't know. I don't know. It is weird, but like just the environment too of the new raid area is kind of crazy. It's unlike anything I've ever seen. It is. I guess the word I would use is very opulent. You get to see another side of the Cabal. Like I've been on a lot of Cabal ships before, but never any like this. Like. If you're familiar with like the backstory of the Cabal, I know they have an emperor. They are part of empire. They are very inspired by like the Roman military type of deal. But like this is like it almost feels like a cruise ship or something for the Cabal. Like there's like huge vaulted ceilings. Everything is like gold. It's a side of a Cabal that I would have never thought to have seen, because they seem so Spartan. They seem so warlike. And to see that they have like this like pleasure barge is a little off-putting at first, but it looks really cool. It's like, and I dig like the color palette of everything, and I dig it. Stands out for sure. But there's one encounter that pretty much felt like I was in a game show or something, like a Japanese game show. Like, what the fuck are we doing? This is weird. Like there was barely any combat. I think the combat that was there was only there just to like get us ammo again to do the other stuff. But like, yeah, I was like, okay, this is a weird thing that we're doing. Doesn't feel very raid like it's very mechanics based for sure. And they're still sticking with like, and they're coming up with new ways to have your team coordinate to do these different tasks, and kind of splitting up the team in different ways, which I appreciated. But again, it was like, okay, this is again just very bizarre, the things that we're being asked to do. But the last boss fight is more of your typical Destiny raid boss. You see the guy, he's the guy that you want to take down, and you kind of take him down. But the only thing I will say about that last encounter is that it's pretty good. I enjoyed it, but one of the cool things is that like you could have people that will not have the same experience in that last encounter, unless you like swap roles and all that, because I had to like watch a video of people completing that section just to see what the other side looked like. And I was like, holy shit, that other section looks kind of crazy and pretty gnarly. And I did get a taste of it because I have to be forced to see that just for a second. But what I was doing was not the thing that was not the gnarly part for sure. So I was like, oh man, that was kind of cool to see, and just to know that, okay, that was what my other teammates were doing while I was doing the other stuff. So, yeah, the raid is cool. It has like sort of a twist ending, which I wasn't expecting. So that was another cool thing about that raid. But yeah, it's again, I feel like that's a lot of what my Destiny 2 experience has been so far, is like they're doing a lot of cool new things, but then some of the things they're doing are not great. Like this. It's almost like a 2 steps forward, 1 step back, but more like, I don't know, 10 steps forward, and I don't know, they fall backwards on a pebble or something. I don't know. It's a weird analogy.
That is a weird analogy.
But yeah, it's like, okay. But yeah, like just I spent, because when you're going through the raid, you get like these chest keys, and these chests are in that underbelly section of the raid ship. So you can go with your crew to kind of cash in those treasure chests, but you can also do it by yourself, which I did. And one of my keys was kind of problematic to do by myself, so I had to call in somebody to help me out after I got super frustrated because I just couldn't do it. It was fucking pain in the ass, but with a team, it'll be fine. But yeah, it's like, holy shit, the fact that this is a thing and you can just explore forever if you wanted to. I also got to give Trials a shot, the new Trials of the Nine thing. It's
okay.
I like some of the improvements that they made to it, because normally back in Destiny 1, a lot of times, or pretty much it was almost mandatory that whenever you're loading into Trials, as soon as you're matchmaking, you're looking at your opponent's setup. Like, what subclasses are they using? What weapons do they have equipped? And all that. And you had to just bring up the menu and kind of just inspect everybody one at a time. Now they actually kind of integrate that into the game. So when you load in, I wasn't expecting like this crazy intro, but they do an intro where they show off like each player and shows off, their class, what subclass they are, and it shows their weapon loadout very clearly. It's very cool because, and then there's also like third-party sites like Trials Report that would actually do that for you. Like, people built this shit just for Trials, and Trials Report was actually pretty cool because you just type in your gamer tag and then it would automatically find all of your opponents that you're matchmaking with and then show you like their match history, how many times they've gone flawless, again, their favorite or preferred weapon loadouts and all that. So it was cool that they kind of took that external feedback almost and just integrated directly into the experience. So that was an unexpected surprise for sure. And they also changed it so Trials is now one of the few game modes that locks your equipment. So you cannot change your loadout once you've loaded into Trials, which is good because, again, sometimes while people were loading in, they'd be like, okay, I'm this thing, I'm using this weapon, and then as soon as they load in, then they change the weapon loadout to kind of, I guess, throw off the enemy team. So now you can't do that anymore. You load in and you're locked with whatever you got. And I don't know if they're going to do this every week. I know this last week it was the map that they used was a unique map to Trials. It wasn't like one of the regular Crucible maps. I don't know if that's like a thing they're going to be doing forever or not, but again, another unexpected thing. Is very cool. They've kind of improved the whole lighthouse thing, because before, what you in Trials, you had to go, if you went flawless, you got to go to the lighthouse and get cool gear. Now there's this like brand new space, and if you get one win, you get access to the space, but the more wins you get, the more tiers of this new location you get to access. And if you go flawless, a really cool thing happens. I don't know what that cool thing is, but I heard a lot of people talking about it. So all I can do is hope that somebody carries my ass to go flawless, because I know I'm never going to go flawless. I'm not that good. I think at most, I just ran it the one time this weekend with some people from the clan, and I think we got 2 wins, maybe 3, and that was it. And that was our run. But it was a cool experience. I dig it. That new area where you go for the Trials area, it is crazy. It looks unlike anything I've ever seen in the fucking game. It's a trip. It looks like a Salvador Dali painting almost. It's crazy.
Whoa.
It's fucking crazy.
That sounds nuts.
Yeah. Yeah, and the other weird thing is, like, you normally in the social spaces you're in like third person, but in this one you have your gun out and you're in first person as if you were like in a mission or zone or whatever. That was a little off-putting too. I don't know if that factors in later on with that cool thing or whatever that happens, but again, it's just another observation I made. But yeah, Destiny 2, I'm still playing it a lot. I will hope to raid more frequently, and hopefully the more raids I do, the more I'll kind of figure out how I feel about it. But I don't know, like right now I'm still feeling like I prefer Wrath of the Machine. Like, I still think that's their best raid that they've done so far, which was the Rise of Iron raid.
Right.
But this one is still good. It's still enjoyable, and I don't think it'll once you get the pattern down, once everybody knows what they're doing, I don't think it'll take too long to complete. I don't think it's going to be like a King's Fall situation where it's just like, okay, this is going to be at the very least 2 hours of our life doing this thing. I would hope at the very least it's going to be like an hour and a half or so for a decent run at the Leviathan raid. I do want to mention a few other things that I forgot to mention last week about Destiny 2, though.
Okay.
Some more gripes, I guess, a little bit. So I guess they could have looked at the co-op experience a little bit more. So now I mentioned that you have a map now in Destiny 2. And you can load in, with your pals and go around the environment. And now that they have these fast travel points, you can kind of go different places on the map. The only problem is that when you're with people, when you're with like friends or whatever, and they can fast travel to places without you. The problem is the map doesn't say where they are in that zone. So you kind of have to tell like people on your team, like, hey, I'm going to fast travel over here so we can do this public event over here, because you could be traipsing around and doing this other thing. They can fast travel wherever they want, and then you will have no idea if they don't tell you. Just kind of weird. You would think they would have thought of that, because like your player icon shows up on the map. It shows you where you are, but it doesn't show where anybody in your fire team is, which I thought was like a weird oversight. They challenges, actually, I should mention that. So bounties no longer exist in Destiny, which I agree with. I'm a fan of the way they kind of re-implemented that. So challenges are kind of like new bounties. Before, if you wanted to get bounties, you had to like go to the bounty tracker and pick them up, and they would be in your inventory for a while, and until you completed them and then cashed them in. The way they do challenges now is that you're just automatically given challenges. I think they reset every day depending on the game type, but pretty much any kind of event that you load into, if you're going on patrols, if you're doing Crucible, if you're doing strikes or whatever, you'll have a different set of challenges, and there's like 3 things that you have to kind of check off, and if you do those things, you just get a batch of tokens for whatever event, like strike tokens or whatever. So it's kind of good that you don't have to worry about like thinking about, okay, let me go get my bounties for this thing, and then, oh wait, I have all these bounties that I've never finished, and I'm almost done with this one, but am I really going to finish this? So I'm kind of glad they kind of simplified that as well. The only problem is that you can't see your challenges until you load into that particular event. You can't like see from the director, or like, oh, if you're going to load into this thing, like you can't see before you load in like what the challenges are. So that's another thing that I was like, you should have maybe thought of that, putting that in there. That would be helpful to know before I go in there.
Yeah, it would give a little more direction.
Yeah, or just to see if like if it's something that I want to actually do or not. Otherwise, right. I can go to a different planet if it's like easier or if more desirable or whatever. I do like some of the subclasses changes that they made. Like even with like existing subclasses, Gunslinger, for example, was for a lot of time it felt like it was a waste of a subclass just because of orb generation. Because when you use your super in Destiny and you kill enemies, you generate orbs for your teammates, which if they collect those orbs, builds up their super meter faster. Like Golden Gun wasn't a great super for that because you only had 3 shots. So like at most you can get maybe 3 orbs or more if you killed a higher tier enemy. But actually I like one of the subclass trees for Gunslinger allows you, like if you're a good shot, if you get precision shots, like say on a boss, for example, you will generate orbs just by getting that crit shot. So I like that they kind of implemented that, like at least a way for certain subclasses that couldn't generate orbs to generate orbs. Because if you're like in a boss situation in a strike and you pop your Golden Gun, you shoot your 3 shots, it's 9 times out of 10 is not going to kill the boss, and you don't really help your teammates either by helping them get their super faster, which is kind of like the Destiny thing. You kind of chain supers, one person supers and the other one gets their super, and more orbs for everybody. It's great. But right. It's good that they thought of like putting that in there, which I'm happy about, because the one thing I like about Gunslinger is those throwing knives. It's very satisfying to shoot somebody, run out of bullets, and then throw a knife at their head. It's really good. One of the other cool subclass changes was for Stormcaller. So all the warlocks have those little rifts that you can put on the ground that'll either heal you or power you up. They added the thing there's one particular tree for the Stormcaller that adds an arc soul to that. And I guess the best way to explain the Arc Soul, it's kind of like a familiar for every guardian that steps into that rift. And that little Arc Soul will independently target enemies in range and shoot at them. So it's like, okay, I'm going to put this thing down. I step in it. I have a little arc buddy floating around my head, and where it'll follow you for about like 8 seconds or so if you're not in the rift. But yeah, it'll help shoot things for you, which is kind of cool. It'll have your back, and if any of your teammates step in it, even if they're not a warlock, they'll also get it. And I was like, holy shit, this is kind of cool. Yeah, I was like, what? All right, I got a cute little buddy that's following me around. It was funny too because I had popped it at the very end of a Crucible match, and like after that you can't really do anything. You can't shoot. Like sometimes people go in for like an extra kill just for fun or whatever. I had popped an Arc Soul, and we were close enough to the enemies that the Arc Soul, while it had like it'll freeze the screen, it'll put like the leaderboards or whatever, the scoreboard on the screen, but you're still kind of loaded in the environment, so things will still be happening in the background. So I had my Arc Soul on, and I was close enough to one of the guys on the enemy team, and the whole time the Arc Soul was shooting the guy and eventually killed him as the scoreboard was just on the screen. I was like, yeah, I like this a lot. And the last thing I will say is they do implement some cool things into like the social spaces. Just like weird random things to do to like almost to kill the time while you're waiting for friends to like do vault stuff and manage their inventory and crap. Like there's a challenge called The Floor is Lava. And I was like, okay. I just came across this thing in one of the social spaces, and I was like, it said the button prompt was, don't pick me up. And of course I picked it up. And then now I'm all red, and it says the floor is lava. I'm like, what the fuck is this? And then I walk off of that area, and I'm like dying. And I'm like, holy shit. So I jump on some boxes, and there's like a beam of light, I guess, telling me where to go. And I'm like, okay, this is my challenge. I have to get over there without touching the floor. I was like, okay, this is fucking weird, but interesting, and I'm having fun with this. But yeah, it's just weird stuff like that. And once you get to the end, they give you a quickness buff, which allows you to run faster and jump higher. And I guess it allows you to get to different places in the social spaces. And they kind of hide some stuff in the nooks and crannies of that area. There'll be like more audio log stuff like in the social spaces. So you can, I guess, get some more flavor on the what's going on in Destiny and that sort of thing. But it's pretty cool. Destiny 2 as a whole, again, I'm a fan, of course, because I've been playing Destiny for a long time. Why stop now, right?
Yeah, I mean, they're gonna keep. Seems like this is gonna keep going for as long as they can milk it. So, so I mean, let's do it. Yeah. People have been doing crazy things. After the raid, that one clan, the Legend himself, they're pretty much famous. I think they got a fair number of world's first raid clears, and they cleared this raid first as well. I think their time was like about 6 hours or so to get it down. Yeah. And then they went on to 4-man the raid from beginning to end, which I thought was a crazy thing. I was like, how the fuck did they do that? And like, okay, that's how they did it. And but they're famous for kind of breaking down the raids in that way and challenging themselves for these crazy feats. I was like, all right, yep, it's cool. They're like career mercenaries in this game. Yeah, pretty much. They'll find a way to break it down in some crazy way for sure. Cool. Yeah, man. But yeah, that's what I've been doing in Destiny 2, man. All right. Well, I'm sure I'll be looking forward to hearing more about it next week. Maybe. Because I know you will be talking about it again. It's all good. Just keep your fingers crossed. So I broke out the old 3DS, and I've been playing Metroid Samus Returns, which is the remake of Metroid 2, The Return of Samus, for the Game Boy. So this game, I gotta say, right off the bat, I love it. You love it. That is a big word. I love it. How much have you played so far? I've played a good amount of it, actually. I think I'm not like at the ends, but I think I'm about 3/4 of the way in. Okay. I had to work overtime at my job on Saturday, and it involved a lot of doing nothing. So I got the chance to play a good amount of it. So Yeah, this game, like 10 minutes, like I'd say like 5 to 10 minutes in, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna love this game. I know this. Like, I just got that rush of Super Metroid and Metroidvania games, and I'm like, oh my god, they're doing it again. This is Metroid. It's so good. But you're thinking like, well, it's Metroid just like any other game, and Metroid 2 wasn't very well received, or it just wasn't played a whole lot. But what makes it different? Well, this game is different in a number of ways, actually. The first being that they gave her some new tactics. Now she has a melee attack that she can use on enemies.
Okay.
And the key to this melee attack is like by itself, it doesn't really do anything to enemies. It kind of just stuns them. Right? Mm-hmm. Like pushes them back a little bit. But now enemies have patterns of attack. So if every enemy before they're about to like charge you or attack you, they'll flash briefly. And that's your moment. If you do a melee attack within that window, when they're attacking you, right when they're about to hit you, then you get like a stun bonus and it dizzies the enemy. And when you do that, then the next few shots that you do is super powerful, and it usually takes them out in that one shot.
Okay.
And that's like, okay, that basically is your go-to. It also yields more results with the orbs that you get from the enemies. Like if you kill them normally, you get like only a certain like amount of orbs or certain kinds of orbs. But if you kill them in that way, you yield more of that from that enemy.
Okay.
So it's a risk reward situation, but it's really like a reward situation because it's not hard to do.
Okay.
So also Samus can shoot in 360 in a full 360 degrees.
Right.
So if you hold down the L button, you can shoot basically anywhere while standing still. You know, kind of like in the old games, but this is a lot more fluid than like the old games.
Can you still walk around and shoot in different directions?
Yes, you can. You can aim like up or down or left or right, but
not in
like you can angle
degrees?
Up, angle down, shoot straight while moving. Yeah, you can do that.
Okay,
but the game it seems like it's a lot easier to just kind of just stand still and shoot because you can do that. It's the way it is with the 360 degrees. It's really fluid and it works really well. So another new thing that they gave her in this game is the use of different kinds of you have another gauge now called an Aeon gauge, and this gauge basically it's like a special energy bar that you use for different abilities or even armor that you get. So, for example, one of the first abilities that you get is scanning. And what scanning does is that scanning scans the map. And when you scan the map, you basically open up more of the map that you can't normally see. Now, they still have like the map rooms that you can get to and just download the map of the entire area. But scanning is a lot easier to do because you can do it basically at any point in time, and it scans a very large area of the map of the map that you're in.
Huh.
And so that takes up Aeon. That takes up that energy gauge.
Yeah.
But not a lot of it.
Does it reveal like hidden rooms too?
Yes, it does. It reveals everything in its range is revealed.
Okay.
Is revealed to you. It also reveals hidden rooms. It also reveals like if there are items in that room. It doesn't tell you what item it is until you get to it, of course.
Right.
But you can tell that it's an item because it's like it's denoted by like a large circle that you can tell. Like that could be an energy tank, that could be a missile tank, that could be a new ability, that could be a new armor. It could be anything, new weapon. It could be something.
Okay.
You know, but it's something. But they just don't tell you what it is. So there's also another thing which is really cool is that you get a upgrade to your armor. It's called the lightning armor. And what the lightning armor does, it does two things. So when you turn it on, it doesn't take up Aeon once you turn it on. But the only way it uses up Aeon is that if you take physical damage while it's on, instead of taking damage, it takes away from your Aeon gauge. And also, if the attack that you get hit by is electricity based, then it will also take up Aeon, but it won't knock you back as a normal attack would. So it absorbs electric attacks rather than, makes you flinch from them.
Okay.
It's like things like that they put into the game that are like, okay, I can really get into this. This is really cool. So the whole point of this game, and I don't really remember Metroid 2 because I remember actually that's the first Metroid game that I ever beat back when I was a kid.
Oh, wow.
But the thing of this game is that there are these Metroids that have taken over these life forms on the planet that you're on. And when they take over the life forms, they make them like super strong. And you basically have to run a gauntlet of them. So there will be these points in the game where you come to like these stations. They look like shrines. And on each shrine there are a number of like bubbles. And basically the bubbles indicate how many of these, for lack of a better term, super Metroids that you have to kill in order to like open up the next area through these shrines. Uh-huh. So like the first shrine, for example, is like 2. You have to kill 2 of these super Metroids, right? And then when you kill 2 of them, you go back to the because you get this ribbon looking like piece from each super Metroid. I gotta think of another name for them, but but you get these ribbon pieces from them, and when you absorb them into yourself, then you take those pieces to the shrine, and then the shrine will light up with the amount of pieces that you have. If you have the appropriate amount of pieces, then it opens up a new area, and then you can go to that new area. So with each shrine that you get to, obviously the number starts to increase, and it shows you how many Metroids you need to defeat in order to open up the next area. So it starts out with like 2. Then the second one is like 7. And then the next one is like 10. And then the next one is like 20. And then the last couple is like, I think the last few, it might be like 15 or 20. But obviously, and this is not like 2 to 7 being just 5 more from the 2 you defeated. No, it's 2, then 7, then 10. And so it's like, that's like 19 so far. And then you got to keep going. Mm-hmm. So obviously they're not all going to be like as easy as the first couple that you defeated. They all start coming with different patterns and different like strategies once you start advancing throughout the game. And then you have to start using like your lightning armor ability or your grappling hook ability to do certain things to the Metroids. And so it's really cool like that they put like a good amount of thought into like not only the way the game is laid out, but that you have to use all of these. They basically force you to use all of the abilities that you have in order to defeat these things. Like you could just use missiles all day in like Super Metroid and defeat like all of the bosses. Uh-huh. But in this one, it's like you have to use your grappling hook. You have to use your scan at some points in order to find them because like you have to use your scan because the way it works, some of the way some of these bosses work is that they go in phases. So if you defeat a boss in its first phase, it'll leave. It'll like go away. It'll run away, and you have to find it again, and in order to continue fighting the boss.
Yo, is this Monster Hunter? What the fuck?
Pretty much. You have to basically find it, and it's not going to be in the same room or even the next room. You're going to have to travel for a little bit and fight enemies along the way, and so on and so forth.
Okay.
So scanning helps a great deal with that. So you have to use scan, you have to use your grappling hook, you have to use your lightning armor, you have to use everything at your disposal and you have to also recognize the patterns. And also, some of these Metroids have the ability to charge you, and that counter comes up, and you also have to use that to your advantage, because that's when you can deal the most damage. And there are these cool little like animations too when you do actually do a successful counter on a Metroid. Like Samus will like climb up on top of the Metroid, and you just unload on it with missiles and shots.
Okay,
and it's like really cool. So that's I like the way for the most part that the game is laid out, and it's laid out like straight up like Metroidvania. I love the way that they make you use everything at your disposal for these bosses, and it seems like everything is really involved. So the only weakness I say with this game is that it does slow down a little bit once you get to a certain point when you get to like the third shrine or so, then it starts to become really difficult, and only in the respect that you have to find hidden paths in order to progress through the game. And scanning helps with that, but Aeon Gauge is not limitless.
Okay.
You know, it runs out.
Yeah.
So if it runs out and you don't have enough to scan, you're fucking like you're stuck doing it the old fashioned way and like shooting everything just to see if like something opens up. But the game does kind of slow down at that point. But once you do find something, and I think this is just all Metroid games, honestly, but once you do find a way, the game picks up again immediately, because it starts to snowball. It starts to be like, oh, okay, you found this little path. Oh, wait, what's that? Oh, hey, there's another path. Oh, hey, there's another area. Oh, there's a boss. You know, so it's just like it's the old formula. But I just kind of, the scanning doesn't help as much as I'd like it to with that. But when you do scan, it also does reveal like breakable walls or breakable blocks that you can use to possibly progress to another area or to another section of the area that you're already in. So I honestly, that's literally the only problem I have with the game. And that might be just a bit of a nitpick, because I think it happens in all Metroid games, you know, where things kind of stop and you kind of figure out where you need to go. So this game is really good. It's really, really good. Like I was so glad that like I got that feeling of like we're back in the world of Metroid, and the things that they added to this game were fantastic with the new abilities, and it's all good, man. And I don't know about you, but I always get goosebumps when I get a new ability. Like I'm just like, yes. I'm like morph ball, morph bomb, you know, like lightning armor, grapple beam, ice beam.
That little jingle that pops up too is like, yep, I love it.
Yeah, yep, that's there.
All right,
that's there. So yeah, I definitely recommend this game. Especially if you like Metroidvania games and you like Metroid games. I definitely recommend it. You know, I'm not sure what your exposure was to the Return of Samus for the Game Boy, but this is as good as a remake as you're gonna get, man. Because it's like they found a way to successfully modernize it, and it works so well. It's so good. It's so fucking good. I really love this game. It's so good. It's definitely worth it to break out the old 3DS and give it a shot.
That's awesome. Yeah, I know a lot of people were a little apprehensive at the announcement because Mercury Steam, the developer behind the game, they didn't. A lot of people didn't like that Castlevania game that they made, so people were like, "Oh shit, they're making Metroid. They're gonna fuck it up." But it's
no.
That's good that they
no.
It's not the case.
Not to me.
Yeah.
No, not to me. They did not mess this up. They did a great job. They did a great job with this game. I would have accepted this as another entry in the franchise, like a new entry in the franchise, because they found a way to change enough about it that it feels very different from the original game, I imagine. You know?
Okay.
So yeah, it's good. It's really good.
That's a shame.
What's that?
It's a shame. It's so good. I'm never going to be able to play it because Destiny is my life now.
I would say just take a little bit of time. Take a little bit of time away from Destiny, and like if you're traveling or something, get this game so you can like play it because it's really good, dude.
Yeah, I definitely want to check it out.
I'm looking forward to playing some more of it. I'm running into the issue where my battery keeps running out because I'm playing it so much. So, but I think I'm only about 7 hours in.
Okay.
And I have a feeling like I'm at the last quarter, but I still have a long way to go though. Like I have 10 more Metroids to defeat, and they're just getting really difficult. Actually, man, and then there's the phases where it just takes longer to beat them because of that. And yeah, it's crazy. But
is this another Nintendo 3DS game that does not use a 3D feature?
I think it does have 3D, but I never use it.
Okay.
I think it definitely does have 3D, but I never use 3D. Who does? Like no one. I don't think anyone uses 3D anymore.
I like to occasionally turn it on depending on the game.
Yeah,
but like there's like fewer of the games support it now. Like they just like okay, nobody uses this shit anyway.
Yeah, I think it definitely does support 3D. I'll definitely double check. I'm like 99% sure it does, but I'll double check.
Okay.
But it's still great either way. So
no, yeah, for sure.
So yeah, I definitely recommend this game. It's so good, but
I want to play so bad.
Yeah, so that's it for what we've been playing, and we are going to move into headlines for this week. A lot of stuff going on again. So, and more Dragon Ball FighterZ news. Yeah. But they revealed the possibility of a new character, new for the game itself. And her name is Android 21. And it hasn't been confirmed that she's playable, but on this article they have pictures of her. Close-ups of the scans that they have off of the V-Jump Japanese magazine, and she was designed by Akira Toriyama, who is the creator of Dragon Ball Z, as people know, and apparently she shares a sort of narrative with Android 16, who is in the game, the gentle giant Android 16, and they also revealed that Yamcha and Tien will be playable in Dragon Ball FighterZ.
Okay.
And Chaozu has also been confirmed, but Chaozu is an assist that will be with Tien all the time. So Chaozu is not going to be playable by himself, unfortunately. And I think people are really like mad about that because Chaozu is probably one of the better fighters, like the better normal fighters on the Z Fighters team. But yeah, he's gonna be basically an assist to Tien.
Right.
So it's kind of like Koromaru and Ken from Persona 4 Arena, like the dog is the assist, or Carl with Ada as his assist. That's Chaozu. So
maybe they're doing the same thing with Android 17 too.
Yeah. I'm like, bring on more characters. I want to see more characters. I want to see more villains. They actually don't have a whole lot of villains. I don't, as far as I see. Like they have Frieza, Cell, Majin Buu, and I think that's it for villains.
Yeah,
I just see a whole lot of good guys. And not a lot of bad guys. I want to see more of them.
Okay.
But to be fair, those are the heavy hitter bad guys in Dragon Ball Z. So I'm not sure how many more villains they can put.
But
yeah. What do you think about that? Do you care? No.
I just want the game. Just give me the game already. I don't care about anything else. Just give it.
All right. Okay. Don't worry. We'll get it. We'll get it soon. Just give it like 5-6 more months.
I mean, although I do kind of dig the look of Android 21. That's pretty good.
Yeah, I like the symmetry.
Yeah.
But yeah. So in other news, so we were talking about PUBG. I think we were talking about it last week or the week before, and PUBG broke. Actually, it was last week. So PUBG actually broke the record It's now set the all-time record for concurrent players on Steam. So it broke 1 million users last week, and now it's peaked at 1,348,374 concurrent users on Steam, and that is the current all-time record. The old record was held by Dota 2 in March 2016 with 1,291,328 users.
God damn.
So PUBG is now has the all-time record for players on Steam ever.
Uh-huh.
And that's that's crazy. And the game has already sold more than 10 million copies.
Yeah.
So just think about that.
That is nuts.
Yeah. I mean, have you gotten in on it yet?
I haven't played in a while, but I have the game. I've talked about it before on the show, but yeah, it's nuts that it's doing crazy stuff. Like everyone is playing it. Everyone in the world, man. It's like pretty much everyone has this game and is playing it. And it's surprising that it beat Dota 2 because Dota 2 is a free game. PUBG you have to pay $30 for, and it's still technically in early access. So the fact that it's doing this shit is is remarkable, to say the least. Yep. Although I don't know if this was a reaction to this. I did notice too, because I had to talk about Destiny all the time. But I know Bungie was saying that they had, I think at one point in the first weekend of the game, that they had 1.2 million concurrent as well on console. So I don't know if this is related to this number or not, but I did see that floating around. So, but yeah, the fact that PUBG is just fucking killing it on Steam, it's crazy. Just wait till it gets on console.
Yeah, that's gonna be super scary.
Yeah.
If it makes it to console, well, once it makes it to console, I'm pretty sure that it's gonna be nuts.
Yeah.
So yeah, all right. So in other news, so actually the day after we recorded last week's episode, Nintendo held a Nintendo Direct. So unfortunately, we weren't able to report on the news that broke from the 45-minute presentation, but we've got that for you now. So we just go over some of the highlights and maybe some of the lowlights of the presentation. So they had some news that was like known, but they just announced like more modes and just some different things on the stuff that we already knew that was coming. So one of the things that's really funny to me is Super Mario Odyssey has a new snapshot feature, and it's basically going to apparently the headline for this article says Super Mario Odyssey's new feature proves it was made for making memes.
Okay.
And because the idea of Mario Odyssey is that the game is purely about exploration. The way the game is laid out, there's no it's not linear as if like, okay, you're in a hub and then you go into a stage and you play the stage and then you beat the stage and then you go back to the hub and you rinse and repeat. Nope. The stages or areas are just littered all over this world of the game.
Okay.
So this snapshot feature is going to have I'm pretty sure it's going to yield crazy results with just people taking pictures of their adventures in this game when it drops in October. And one of the other things that they showed where the internet's freaking out about this is so they show Mario shirtless for the first time.
Yeah.
And it turns out that Mario has nipples.
Well, of course.
And forget what you know, Mario has nipples.
Well, duh.
Like people.
Are you trying to say?
Like people.
Are you trying to insinuate that Mario is not people?
Think about it. And this is just after the news that Mario apparently is not a plumber anymore. Like he lost his job. Like he's not a plumber anymore. That was news like about a few weeks ago.
Whatever.
But all right, Mario. Okay, the thing about Mario is that the way he's drawn, you wouldn't think that they would draw him with nipples. Like it seems like kind of like an extraneous detail that they could have left out. but they decided to put that in there anyway.
Nah, you're crazy, man. It fits. No, man, it fits perfectly.
It's true. It's freaking like, but it's like it's so surprising to me. I'm like, what?
They should have gone further.
How? Chest hair?
Yes, exactly. Thankfully, people on Twitter already took care of the job. They put him with chest hair. I think I even saw
I did see that.
Him with a gold chain at one point and the chest hair.
Oh my God.
You can't have a mustache with like that and not have chest hair. Come on.
No, I'm sure, but like I don't know, like just the way just his aesthetic to me doesn't scream like nipples. Like it just seems like it's like a cartoon character that's obviously like pantsless or shirtless all the time.
Okay.
And they don't draw those details on these characters because I don't know, it just
depends on the cartoon, man. I don't know. Sora has nipples. Why is it such a why is that Mario has nipples?
I don't know. For some reason it's just like
they're not like highly detailed nipples. It's just like two little circles that are slightly darker than his skin tone. It's just like, all right.
But they are nipples. They are nipples, and they are there.
Because Mario is a people, and people have nipples. God damn it, Frank.
I know that. But Mario is a game character, and I just didn't expect that.
That just showcases the power of the Nintendo Switch. Is that they can give Mario nipples now.
I'm just thinking. I'm like, how long has it been since he's taken off that shirt? Like, damn, this is the first time.
Yeah.
In how many years?
A lot. Like at most, like Mario Sunshine, he had like his sleeves rolled up or a T-shirt underneath or something. But yeah, this is the most skin Mario's shown, I think, ever.
Ever.
And I, for one, am excited.
Those nipples get everybody excited. I was like, whoa, what? Huh? And then the internet was pretty much like with me on that. They're like, whoa, Mario has nipples. Stop what you're doing. Stop everything that you're doing right now. Mario has nipples.
It's just
Mario has nipples.
It's a stupid over-exaggeration. Like, come on, man. Of course he has nipples. Oh. Jesus.
Of course?
Yes.
Of course. I don't believe it.
We all have nipples.
Mario has nipples.
Hey, Frank.
Mario has nipples.
Hey, Frank, guess what?
Yes.
I have nipples.
I know you do. You're a person. Well, at least I hope you do. Because if you don't, I'm like, well, that's okay. You know, not everybody's born the same. but yeah, Mario has nipples. That's crazy to me. But yes, and it shows it very prominently in the pictures.
It's not that prominent here. It's not that prominent.
It's you see them.
It's natural.
They're there. You see them. They're
always there.
They're there.
Jesus.
Just gotta wrap my head around this.
I can't believe we spent so much time talking about Mario's nipples. Christ's sake.
It's newsworthy. But so also Nintendo's also going to be bringing arcade classics to the Switch, and they're going to be starting with Mario Brothers, and then they're going to move on to like other games like I think Balloon Fight and I think Donkey Kong maybe.
That sounds oddly like a virtual console thing.
Yeah, it's like basically the idea of the virtual console but for the Switch. We'll see how that works out.
But not quite the virtual console?
No. No, this is arcade classics, so we'll see how this works out. Because it seems like it's very limiting to certain games. But I guess other highlights from this this article that we have on the show notes is going to basically break down into other articles, and so you can check out the articles at your leisure. We're just kind of going over some of the more like interesting ones that we've seen here. So another one which is pretty cool is that for the 3DS, which is coming soon, Mario Party's best mini games are being collected into a game called Mario Party: The Top 100. So I think everybody knows that the best part of Mario Party are the mini games. And what if you had a game that you just play the mini game straight up?
I love that the best part of Mario Party is like 10% of the game. and not the board game part, which you're forced to slave through.
Nobody really cares about the board game stuff.
Nope.
Like nobody cares. It's just like the mini games are like so fun. But what if you had a game that you just played the mini games and you have one now? Hopefully it doesn't kind of like kill the fun factor of it all. But yeah, you asked for it. And now you got it.
Did we? I don't remember asking for this.
I don't know. I don't know. I think silently we asked for this, but like maybe this might be too much. Maybe it might be like, all right, they were fun, but now that we have such easy access to the best ones, are they really fun now? You know, we don't know. But the other thing I thought was pretty cool that they have a new Pokeball, and they have a Pokeball 2DS XL that's coming out in November, and it looks pretty cool. It looks pretty legit. I kind of want it. I don't have a 2DS yet, so.
But you have a 3DS.
I do.
Same thing, except it does 3D.
But this is a 2DS.
I can't believe how fucking skewed your priorities here, Frank. You skipped like the biggest thing of this whole direct.
What's that?
Talking about fucking Mario's nipples. Come on, man. It's Wolfenstein 2 and Doom are making their way to the Switch. It's not.
Oh yeah.
It's not old Doom either. It's Doom 2016. This shit. What? Who would have thought that
for the Switch?
These games coming out for the Switch? Oh my god, so crazy.
I honestly didn't think that was like. I didn't think that was possible.
Yeah, but they're doing it.
Apparently, this is real. But yeah, Doom 2016 is coming to the Switch. Wolfenstein 2 is coming to the Switch.
Yeah,
and I don't know. I was just like, what?
It's like the Switch is a real console now. Like it's getting like pretty decent third party support.
Yeah, they're trying to. It seems they are getting really good third party support, and it seems like they're starting to figure themselves out, which is really cool to see. But yeah, man, Mario got nipples. He got nipples, man.
We all have nipples, Frank. Damn. Oh man.
But so also real quick, there are some release dates that they announced for some of the things that we talked about, and there were some other things that we didn't mention that they announced release dates for, or at least release areas for. So for example, Doom is supposed to be coming out the end of this year for holiday 2017. Elder Scrolls 5 is coming out for the Switch also in November.
AKA Skyrim.
Yeah. And Resident Evil Revelations 1 and 2 is coming out in November 28th. Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is coming out December 1st. Lost Sphere is coming out January 23rd, 2018. Kirby Star Allies is coming out in the spring of next year. And Dragon Quest Builders is coming out in 2018 as well. And there's a new...
I was going to say, that's a good fit for the Switch.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I kind of figured that they'd release Dragon Quest for the Switch.
But specifically the Builders thing, that I've kind of been curious about that game, but it's that's good that it's coming out to Switch.
Yeah. But and then there's also a game called Project Octopath Traveler, which is coming out next year. It's a working title game. And they have a little trailer for it in this second article as well. And for the 3DS, we talked about Mario Party, the top 100 is coming out November 10th. Kirby Battle Royale is coming out January 19th of next year, and Minecraft is actually out today.
Surprise!
Yeah. So that's pretty much for the most part. There were some things that we didn't talk about, but the Nintendo Direct was kind of dizzying. Like it had they threw a lot of news at you in 45 minutes, and a lot of like release dates and a lot of games, and yeah, it was pretty good. It was a pretty good presentation. Like you said, it seems like the Nintendo Switch is really coming into its own.
Yep.
So yeah, in other news, I'm super excited about this just because, oh man, I have hopes and dreams. I know it's not going to happen, but Zone of the Enders 2, also known as AKA Anubis Zone of the Enders, AKA Zone of the Enders, the Second Runner, is coming to the PS4 and the PC with VR. That's fucking right. And one of the best things about it, they have a trailer here so you can see for yourself what it's going to look like. But that's like one of the best things I think I saw about this. It's going to be that fucking 4K, man. Yo, I fucking lost it. I don't know if you saw this shit, but I fucking lost my mind. I'm like, holy fuck, this looks so good. Uh-huh. This looks so clear and crisp and beautiful. And I love Zone of the Enders. I do. Zone of the Enders 2, I thought was one of the best games for the PS2. Probably second best to Metal Gear Solid 3. Mm-hmm. And, yo, the fucking 4K looks amazing. Like, holy shit.
The 4K?
And the VR, that 4K life, man. I think I might be about that.
I was about to say, like, I was going to say the VR, man. Like, you get to actually be inside the crotch of Jehuti.
Be inside... Yes. Yes. And the cool thing is that you can see like what you're doing. You can see like kind of like a grid based form of yourself of what you're doing on the bottom right hand corner.
Like a hologram thing, yeah.
Of your of your view. Yeah. And it's like, this is so cool. So you can actually see what you look like when you're doing stuff, but you'll be in VR, and it's like, this is friggin' awesome.
When I first heard that they were doing VR, I thought it was going to be like a side VR thing. I didn't realize like, oh, the whole game is playable in VR.
In VR.
From the cockpit. And I was like, holy shit. Okay, this is crazy.
Dude. Dude, damn it. I don't know. This might be the one that makes me make that jump. This might be the one that makes me make the jump to VR, man.
Yeah.
Because like, I mean, I was very much convinced by Killing Floor.
Yeah.
You know, that was fun. That was fun as hell. But this game, I'm like, I know this game inside and out. And if I can be inside the cockpit doing shit, man, fuck out of here. I'm there. I'm fucking there. This is amazing. And it just looks so good. Oh.
Yeah.
My God.
So fresh and so clean.
So crisp and clear. So fresh and so clean. God.
I can't help but think like Konami is almost going out of their way to earn some brownie points with the gamers, especially after that whole Kojima fiasco after
Kojima, yeah.
Metal Gear Solid 5.
I know that's why I said I have hopes and dreams, because it seems like that if they get enough feedback from this, that they can make a third game. But I'd rather them not make a third game if Kojima's not involved. You know, because he was heavily involved in the first two.
But don't forget, he did not direct those games. Don't downplay the other people's. He
executive produced them.
Yes,
he executive produced them, and he actually wrote the second game. I think. Well, he was one of the writers of the second game. But I don't know. I want a ZOE 3, but I don't know. I hope it's not too little, too late. I think it's way too late now. But
yeah. Like a lot of the people that were there that made Zoe what it was, like, aren't there anymore. Like Shinkawa isn't there anymore, right? He's not at Konami.
No, Shinkawa is kind of like freelance now. So he's actually he's actually involved with another game.
Yeah, I heard something. He was doing mech design for like a Square game or something.
Yeah, I forgot what the game was called.
Yeah.
Crap.
Yeah, I can't remember.
But yeah, he was doing the character and mech designs for a Square Enix mech game that basically looks like Armored Core. I think the director of some Armored Core games is the director of this one. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think he's freelance though. I think he's like whoever pays him. so but yeah, I don't think his ties with Konami are like severed. You know, I think he can go back and redesign.
But would he want to?
I don't know. Maybe he's too attached to Kojima. Maybe Kojima, like whatever Kojima has going on, maybe with Death Stranding or some of his other things that he wants to work on, he probably might tap Shinkawa to design, you know? But yeah, man. God, it looks so good. And you can be in the cockpit, and I have to say, like, I just hope it runs. And I mean, from what it looked like, it looks like it runs really well. I just hope it runs, because ZOE, Zone of the Enders, is probably one of the fastest like mech games out there. Probably, if not the fastest mech game out there. Like, it's so fast and fluid, and there are no other mech games that are even come even close to how the game plays. very much action based, and I'm just hoping that with VR it like feels the same, or at least tries to feel the same,
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm excited. I'm fucking excited. I'm like, I might have to fucking jump in the VR with this, but yeah, it looks so good. Oh my god. So, in other news, I know Alex, you're very much interested in this because you've talked about this game before. So, Nico Atsume, the cat collecting game, which means cat collection kitty collector. Cat collection subtext kitty collector. That's weird. So it will also, we're still on the VR kick. This will also be getting a PlayStation VR release, and it's kind of funny. They're like, we're not sure how exactly VR will expand the world of cat collection beyond what's already been done, but people are excited about it, and it's also getting a movie. I had no idea. That's crazy.
Yeah.
So
it's very surprising.
A live action movie.
Yeah. Like how far this Neko Atsume thing went. It's very surprising for sure.
But yeah, so that's going to be that. This game is going to be available in VR. How do you feel about this? I'm not sure how to feel about it.
I'm just like, huh? Really? This is what we're doing? Spending our time on? I don't know. It seems like weird because it's such, like, Neko Atsume is not really a game. You just kind of set up your house and occasionally go back and see if kitties came by, and maybe you rename the cats and give them...
Catch them.
You don't even catch them.
Catch them.
You don't keep them. You just, they're stray cats, and you just basically building a place for them to hang out.
And go as they please.
Exactly. So... Yeah. I don't know. It's just weird that they're doing a VR thing about that. So I don't know if they're going to do much to change the formula of Neko Atsume, which is not much to begin with. But hey, it's I don't know.
Do you see like a reason or possibility of VR? Like, is there something in the game that maybe can transfer across or come across?
Not that I can think of. VR? No way. Because it feels like, my mind is just like purely in that mobile experience of the game, because you kind of you go in, you set up your stuff, and maybe leave food, and that's what attracts the cats to come by. But you don't see them in real time come. You kind of leave, and then you'll come back, and then they'll be there. So I'm curious how that translates to VR. Like, are you gonna actually watch and see kitties come by in real time? And it's just bizarre. Just bizarre that this is even happening, and the fact that they're kind of really keeping the 2D aesthetic that they have sort of in a 3D environment. It's a unique thing. And I'm just still so weirded out that this is happening.
Yeah. I don't know. It seems I didn't like see, like, I'm like, what? I'm like, of all things to put in VR, you want to put that? But I thought there was probably like some sort of thing that was done in the game that it would work. But
well, they're finding something. I don't know.
They're finding that money lying in their pockets.
Maybe you get to actually play with the kitties now. Who knows?
Hey, maybe they might include like a new mode or something that would actually force you to utilize the VR. But it seems a little extraneous, though.
Yeah, but hey,
to say the least.
Again, they're making a live action movie. They might as well milk this thing for all it's worth.
Yeah, for sure. But all right, and then the last bit of news. So there was actually history made this past weekend, and I'm not talking about Dragon Ball FighterZ beta, but there was history made briefly this past weekend, and there was actually a brief period of time this past weekend where there was cross-platform play in Fortnite, and cross-platform between users on Xbox One and PS4. And this was confirmed. Basically, what happened was that gamers in the Fortnite subreddit saw what they thought was a cross-console play in the game, and they thought that the usernames that they were playing with were like they thought like, oh, these are probably PC gamer tags, but they were actually Xbox Live handles, and vice versa with PS4, PS4 or PSN names. And so there was a representative at Epic Games that confirmed that it was actually Xbox One players and PlayStation 4 players playing with each other. Mm-hmm. And the spokesperson basically said, like, we had a configuration issue and it has now been corrected. And so that was rectified pretty quickly, but it was for a brief moment. Like, we were all playing together, like, in this one game. And this kind of like leads back to the whole Rocket League thing where, like, Xbox opened up its like consoles across platform, but Sony's like, nah, you know, because because of the whole online safety thing or whatever. But
that's bullshit.
I don't know, like this at least games like this, at least this instance lets us know that it is possible. So hopefully I'm thinking that this could kind of like bridge that gap. Mm-hmm. Not this in particular, but like this could be the start of bridging that gap that we can actually like play all together.
Yeah.
Because what does it fucking matter? It doesn't fucking matter.
I mean, it's already been known. Like, people have already come out and said, like, this is possible. It's pretty easy to do. It's just, you know, Sony has not opening.
They're being resistant.
Yeah, they don't want to do it. And I understand why. Like, they're technically on top in terms of the console market right now. And Xbox One wants to do anything they can to, you know, get more people on board. But yeah, just the fact that this happened in quotes on accident, that it shows how easy it is. Because that's kind of like the headline is like, oh yeah, we accidentally activated cross-platform play between these two consoles that weren't supposed to play together. Oops.
Yep.
I don't know. There's some. It feels like there's some conspiracy theories too around that. Like, this was done on purpose, maybe to force Sony's hand.
What would happen? Right.
Yes.
Just to see what would happen.
So who knows? But yeah, I hope this pushes Sony to open up, because it would be fantastic if all players could just play together. Because it sucks to have like a certain gaming communities, online communities, be splintered because they can't play with each other just because they bought the game
console availability
on a specific console. Yeah, it sucks, but hopefully we'll get there one day.
Yeah, and I'm hoping that at least, and I'm hoping that at least that this could be the start of something, you know. And like you said, it might have been like, oops, we turned this on by mistake. Let's see what happens for this period of time. And Phil Spencer, head of Xbox over here, says that he people on Twitter like asked him like what he thought about the whole thing that went down, and he's like, I wish they left it on.
Yeah,
I wish they didn't turn it off because he continued. You know, he's like really at the head of like he wants the console crossplay to happen.
Yeah, of course. Like,
big time. So, but yeah, he's like, I wish they left it on. Like, I hope they, like, I really didn't want them to turn it off. I really hope that they would have just like seen, like, you know, hopefully just yielded a better result from leaving it on longer.
Yeah, just force Sony to do something about it.
Yeah. But I mean, I don't know. Well, it was something, and it was actually like in action, and it actually happened.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so hopefully we'll see. We would have thought like Rocket League would have been like the first game, because it's very, very much a multiplayer game, and it would have, it's a fun game. It would have been a good game to start with.
Yeah, it's pretty much crossplay with like everything else. Like, all the consoles can crossplay with PC and vice versa. Just some of the consoles can't crossplay with some of the other consoles.
With each other.
Fucking, come on, man.
Yeah. But, all right. Well, that's it for headlines for this week. And you should have already been at InnerCityGeeks.com following along with us. So we're going to move into new and upcoming releases, and Alex is going to take us through what we have to look forward to for this week. So please go ahead. All
right. So this week, the week of September 19th, we're going to start off with Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. It is finally out for the PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC. And I guess tying into our previous conversation, there is no crossplay between these versions of the game. So choose your console very carefully.
Yeah.
Also out this week is NBA 2K18, out now for the PlayStation 4, Xbox One, the Nintendo Switch, and Windows PCs. Minecraft Story Mode Season 2, Episode 3, Jailhouse Block is now out for PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC. Game we talked about last week, Atomega, is now out for the PC. As is The Binding of Isaac Afterbirth Plus for the PlayStation 4. Burly Men at Sea is now out for the PlayStation 4 and the Vita. It's actually a game I want to check out. It's very quirky, if you can tell by the title, so it seems like right up my alley. Also out this week is SteamWorld Dig 2, out for the Nintendo Switch. Got Blackguards 2 out for PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. Ink for PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. Hidden Dragon Legend is out for PlayStation 4. And weirdly enough, out of nowhere it seems, Final Fantasy IX is now out for PlayStation 4.
Yeah, that's just a quick aside. TGS was going on.
It started.
Yeah, so that was one of the things they announced, that basically it was going to be the PC
port,
the PC version, the PC port that's just coming right to the PS4.
Yeah, so similar deal with what they did with Final Fantasy VII for the PS4, doing the same thing with Final Fantasy IX, and it's out now. And we've got actually a bunch of Friday releases this week. First up, Pokken Tournament DX is now out or it will be out on Friday for the Switch. And Pokemon Gold and Silver versions for the 3DS Virtual Console will be out on Friday as well. We've also got Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 coming for the Switch. Project Cars 2 for PS4, Xbox One, and PC. Bloody Zombies for the Xbox One. Caveman Warriors for PS4, Xbox One, and PC. SteamWorld Dig 2 is going to PC on Friday. The Lego Ninjago movie video game is out for PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. And finally on Friday, we get Guild Wars 2 Path of Fire for PC. And the last thing I will mention as well is that there is a free weekend going on for Overwatch this coming weekend. It begins on Friday, September 22nd. It's going to start at 11 a.m. Pacific time and will end on Monday, the 25th at just before midnight. So if you still have not checked out Overwatch, you've got another chance to check it out for free without paying money. And for the love of God, don't buy loot boxes because it's a mistake.
Alex is already fallen in. So
multiple times.
You don't want to make the same mistake.
You would have think I've learned by now.
No.
But that will actually do it for all the new releases and stuff for the week.
All right. So that means we are done with this episode. So before we officially sign out, we would like you to visit innercitygeeks.com, which is where we're located, and we have a bunch of stuff sometimes regarding everything geek. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel. The channel's called Good Games, and there you can listen to some of our older episodes. You can listen to this episode, and you can just leave a comment or leave a like on any of those episodes that you might like. And you can also listen to us on iTunes, where you can leave us a review. That's the best thing that you can do for us. Just let us know what you think of the show. You can also listen to us where all podcasts are available to be listened to. And I also want to encourage everyone to click on the Amazon banner on the right-hand side of the Inner City Geeks page, because you should already be there right now. And when you do that, it'll take you to Amazon, and go ahead and buy whatever it is that you were planning to buy. And when you do that, a little bit of that will come back towards us, who can provide more show and more content for you. And you can reach us on all of the social media, mainly Facebook, Twitter, Instagram at Inner City Geeks. You can reach this show on Twitter at Good Game Podcast. And you can also email us at goodgamespodcast@gmail.com. And that is going to about do it for this show. Thank you for listening. We're going to say goodbye. And in leaving, as always, we say, good games, everybody.
Good games.